Greetings, fellow changing of time and space! This is your host, TheAmariaShadow, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back once again to more of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. We're going to be trying to conclude Episode 3, The Right of Turnabout, today. So without further ado, let's get started right away today's adventure and see what's in store for us. Hello, Z! Now, as I said, I did watch the Pokemon Presents earlier today, and I was pleasantly surprised with the information we got on Pokemon Legends ZA, and yeah, that title still sounds weird. I tend to call it Z Alpha, Alpha a lot, but I guess ZA is what they're going with, I guess. But yeah, I'm interested about this one. I like the change in gameplay that we got from the first Legends game. Interested to see that this game apparently takes place after the events of Pokemon X and Y, so I don't know if it could be considered a direct sequel to X and Y, but maybe something like dedicated in the future of X and Y. It was nice to see AZ and Floette again, and AZ being a hotel manager. That's I'm like, bruh, you are so tall. You are so damn tall. Like, what the hell? But see, that was pretty cool. Cool. And our starter choices: Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. Not the choices that I was 100% thinking it was going to be. I mean, I was kind of certain we were going to get Score Bunny as a choice for the fire starter, but they chose Tepig, so does that imply that we're going to get some Kalos region variant evolutions for them, or maybe even some Mega evolutions for them? I imagine we might get some Mega evolutions for them, which means I need to see their actual evolutionary line first and foremost before I even make my choice. Because automatically I see myself picking up Totodile because Totodile was my favorite out of the three Johto starters. So I'm tempted to pick up Totodile, but I need to see their evolutions first. So I hope as the year progresses, we'll get more information about Legends ZA, and we'll see what they intend to do for those three Pokemon when it comes to evolutions, Mega evolutions, stuff like that. Anyway, tomorrow, today's Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow I will not be streaming tomorrow because I'm more than likely going to be playing Monster Hunter Wilds with a couple of buddies, depending if they're not at work. But if they are, then, well, whatever. Whatever. It's not like I'm forcing myself to play it by myself because I don't like playing Monster Hunter by myself. I prefer playing with my friends. So depending on what goes on, I will more than likely be playing that tomorrow. And tomorrow, after today's stream, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on Marvel Rivals to try and get that last event mission that I was working on completed, because getting 100,000 damage across the board to complete that is a little bit time consuming. It's definitely by far the least the one mission prompt that they give us in these type of story events that I don't really like. I like because this is the second time that they've done this, but it's fine. It just means I have to grind. And again, I play Rocky Raccoon, I play Mr. Fantastic, I play The Thing, and Thing. All three of those characters are really, really fun, so it doesn't bother me that I have to grind to play those. So I'm probably going to play more of The Thing once today's stream is over to try and get that out of the way. Anyways, distractions is over. We are back to Ace Attorney. We are in the second trial portion of episode 3, and we are here in the High Court of Khura'in on May 12th, 9:34 a.m. in the accused body. Maya looks exhausted, but I can't blame her. Nick, I was thinking about it all day yesterday. I never properly asked you to defend me, did I? It doesn't matter. I'm on this case till the bitter end. I know. That's why I wanted to officially ask you for your help. You got it, Maya. Let's do this. We gotta wrap this up and get back home so you can make your dream show come true. The Steel Samurai versus the Plume Punisher, right? You bet! You look as if you did not sleep last night, Barbed Head. It is written all over your face. How can you expect to put up a respectable defense like that? I'm all fired up and ready to go. I guess Maya's not the only one looking exhausted. Rachel doesn't seem in the best spirits herself. Go ahead, feign confidence now while you are still able. For I will see to it that your last rites are read to you this day. Guess it was just my imagination. Ready, Nick? Okay, Maya, let's head on in. May 12th, High Court of Kuride. Day 2, court is now in session. All rise! Now then, if everyone is ready. The defense is ready, Your Majesty. The prosecution is ready. Let us begin without further delay. Oh, no prayers this time, Prosecutor Sunmuddy? I already offered my prayers for the latest victim during my visit to the crime scene. Being that the accused has already been found guilty of the first murder, let us hasten this trial so we may put this dead lawyer walking out of this mystery. I could not agree more. In yesterday's trial, the accused was already found guilty of murdering the high priest, and today she will be tried for the murder of his disciple, Praise a lot. Now then, Prosecutor Sanmari, your opening statement, if you would. Certainly. The accused has now slain 2 of the most devout clergymen in the Kurani. Even the lowest level of hell, the hell of tickling, would not be punishing it enough. Then, what terrible fate waits her? I have no idea. Balgilpokan Hell, a realm of eternal agony. There she will suffer the endless punishment of Jaguar by the Galoon of Pulmonton. I have no idea what any of these words are! Enough! Enough! My blood runs cold at the mere thought that such a terrible place exists. I was going to ask for a translation, but on second thought, ignorance is bliss. Now then, please continue, minus the part about the terrible hell awaiting the accused. As you wish. The victim of this heinous crime was the high priest's disciple, Purezalat. He had been training under the high priest while living at the priest's home. I had met him a number of times, and he seemed like an earnest young man. How tragic that he met such a terrible end. The murder occurred at the Plaza of Devotion during the purification rite. It was an old crime carried out while the plaza was full of the faithful deep in prayer. The Warbod dagger was found impaled in the victim's upper back. The stabbing caused a spinal cord injury that killed him instantly. Ah, the Warbod dagger, believed Kira's weapon of choice. We have already established that the accused's prints were on the weapon. Incredibly damning evidence in itself. No, I didn't do it! Hold your tongue. Now being that the accused Maya Fey is a serial killer, the prosecution believes that the death penalty is the only possible sentence. Would the defense care to respond? The accused is innocent, and nothing can convince me otherwise. After all, the crime scene was packed with worshippers. How could my client possibly have committed this murder without a single witness? The accused's fingerprints on the murder weapon alone is enough to render a verdict. As such, I see no need to debate this any further. But... well, once her benevolence conducts her seance, it will be clear for all to see. Your Majesty, might I have a word? Is something the matter, Prosecutor Sunbody? It is about the divination seance.
That's enough!
Your benevolence! Stop right there, Prosecutor Sadmati. As you wish. Forgive me for overstepping my bounds. What was that all about? Bobtail, have you made peace with your fate? But this time, the divination seance will bring you to your knees. I'm ready, and I accept your challenge. The only problem is I have no weapons at my disposal. Our only hope now is what we can glean from the seance vision of Rafa's insights. Very well. Divination seance, if you please, your benevolence. Yes, let us begin. Nana!
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Well, that's odd. What happened? I don't get it. Why wasn't there anything to see? Your benevolence! What in the world? I was unable to invoke any sort of response. I called out to the spirit's name many times, but to no avail. Just as I thought. Wait, what does he know that we don't? I had sought to confirm the contents of today's divination seance. After all, it is customary for the prosecutor to verify it beforehand. Come to think of it, I must go perform a divination seance for Perezalot. It is our custom for the prosecution to review its contents before a trial begins. And that is why I sought to stop her benevolence from performing it here. However, she insisted that it be done. She wished to try one more time here in the Hall of Justice. It would appear her benevolence is tired from her manifold duties. I am not anything of the sort! The victim spirit will not answer my call, but I know not why! It is my sacred duty to convey the truth through the divination seance. Rafa, what are we to do without a divination seance? I suppose I shall have to deliver the last rites without them. The prosecution has already taken that into account when preparing for today. I am fully capable of proving the accused's guilt, with or without a divination seance. Ha 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 ha! You never fail to impress, Prosecutor Sadanati. This is bad. The divination seance was my one and only hope. Your Majesty, her benevolence says she isn't tired, so shouldn't we try to find out why the divination seance failed? How curious, Mr. Wright. Why have you suddenly taken such a keen interest in the divination seance? Yes, explain yourself. The divination seance is for shedding light on an accused's crimes. It is the Holy Mother's hammer of wrath that is ever poised to pound you into your grave. You should fear it, not plead for it. I believe in my client. Plus, yesterday, somebody told me something that changed my mind. The divination seance was once thought of as just another piece of evidence. If we were to correctly interpret the visions through careful analysis, then they would lead us to the truth behind what really happened. And the truth will show that my client, Maya Fey, is innocent. The truth is, you don't have anything else to fall back on, huh, Nick? Maya, please, you're not helping. How dare you! The voice of a Mitama is to be feared, not utilized by vile lawyers such as you. Seances exact a heavy toll upon the royal priestess. It would be best not to burden her any further. Or does the defense feel that it can pose no counter-arguments without the seance? No, of course not. He saw right through me! I'll have to find a way to make the divination seance happen, or we're toast. Well, since the divination seance is not possible at this time, I see no other choice. Let us proceed with the trial without the seance, as Prosecutor Sanmari suggested. Thank you, Your Majesty. Why, I will not forget this, barbed head! This will not be the last you see of me. Now then, I will now proceed by providing an outline of the case at hand. Very well. If the lead detective would please come to the stand, we may begin. Sorry, Mr. Wright. Detective Sky, I understand how you would wish to say the accused to the defense. They are your friends, after all. But you must let them go, and move on. But there is only one way to save them now, by giving their souls the chance to burn away the taint of their sins in the infernal flames. Ugh, I can't do this! No eating in the Sacred Hall of Justice! Miss Sky! Yes? Don't worry about me and Nick. You just do your job. I'm sure Nick will figure something out, eventually. Right. Thanks, Miss Fey. I'm very brave for a criminal with a tainted soul. Very well, Detective Sky. Please proceed. Okay, I can do this. Let me start with an overview of this case. The latest victim was Perezalot. He had been training under the High Priest and living at his house for the past 2 years. The High Priest's widow, Believe in Me, has identified the victim's body. He may have been mistaken for a rebel and killed due to his connection to the High Priest. I see. Well, that certainly makes sense. Would the defense care to respond? I didn't spot any inconsistencies in her testimony so far, and I don't have any evidence in my arsenal. What am I going to do now? What is it, Ryan? I was just wondering about how much the police actually looked into Acolyte Zilla, because it just might prove to be the key as to why the divination seance failed. What are you getting at? Well, it's just a hunch. Wait a second. During my investigation, Rafa told me about how the divination seance works. If I could figure out why it failed, maybe she could try it again. Okay, time to press for some more information. Well, this is easy. Perezalot is not his real name. Hold it! Was Mrs. Inme's positive ID the only way you could verify the identity of the victim? Huh? Well, no. We also checked the ID card he carried and the data in his family registry, but what? His personal information didn't match any of the public records we cross-referenced. Maybe that's why the divination seance failed. I'm not sure what you mean, Mr. Wright. Here's what I'm thinking. Perezalot is a fake name. The victim decided to hide his identity for some reason. In other words, he was using a fake name. The royal priestess uses the deceased's face and true name to summon their spirit. Why, yes, that is indeed true. If he was using a forged ID, and there is no mention of him in our public records, then he was likely an illegal immigrant. They are not uncommon here in Kurai. An illegal immigrant? Come to think of it, Rafa mentioned something about immigrants yesterday. But if that's the case, we have no way of knowing who he really is. We'll have to proceed without holding a divination seance this time. Ugh! I had always thought that Acolyte Zealot was Kuranese. Oh, how the High Priest must be lamenting his disciples' deception in the Twilight Realm. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think? Should we add this to the testimony? Yes, add it to the testimony. This is an important fact. Please add it to the testimony. Seems to be a fact most inconvenient for the defense. But if you insist, Detective Sky, please add what you just said to your testimony. Yes, Your Majesty. He was an illegal immigrant, so we don't know his real name. He's not an illegal immigrant because of the tattoo on his back.
Objection!
Sorry, Detective Sky, but the police missed something important in their investigation. Huh? What are you talking about? The victim was undeniably a Kuranese native. And this crime scene photo proves it. It does? It's a little hard to see, but look closely. You'll see clear proof that the victim was Kuranese. But where? I don't see anything that will prove that. This proves the victim was Kuranese.
Take that!
Look at this tattoo right here. Why, that's a tattoo of a peach? I would like you all to think about the meaning of this tattoo. Oh, the victim really liked peaches? Well, peaches are a favorite delicacy here in Kurai. They happen to be a personal favorite of mine. The sweetness of their abundant nectars and the softness of their perfectly ripe flesh. They are a blessing from the Holy Mother herself. Nick, I suddenly got a craving for peaches. After the trial, Maya, right now we have bigger fish to fry. Unfortunately, that is not a tattoo of a peach. It is not a peach, you say? Then what is it? Take a closer look. Haven't you seen something like that before? Namely, the tattoo on the High Priestess' brow. Oh my! What? This mark is only borne by members of the Kuranese clergy. So that is what you believe it to be. But are they not utterly different shapes? Sure, they're shaped differently, but there's a reason for that. The victim had the peach-shaped tattoo inked over an existing tattoo for some reason. However, the dark red portion is exactly the same as the mark all Kuranese clergy bear. Hey, you're right! So about 20-some odd years ago, everyone did get one, didn't they? I myself bear one on my right foot. That is entirely too much information, Your Majesty. The information on everyone who enters the clergy is maintained at the temple. All we have to do is look up a monk with a mark in the same spot. I'm on it. I'll let you know if I get any hits. That will not be necessary if you seek information on the clergy. I have it all right here. Oh my! You never cease to amaze! So tell us, is there anyone who fits the bill? There is just one, and his name is Real Nemu. He became a monk 20 years ago. And that must be the victim's real name. But why would he have tried to cover up his tattoo with another one? Yeah, there must have been some reason. Nick, that's not important right now. The important thing is we know his real name. You're right. Your Majesty, now that we know the victim's real name, a lawyer who willingly seeks a seance, this is entirely unprecedented. You are but digging your own grave, defense. We won't know that until we try. Sure, it's risky, but it's our only hope. Very well. Let the divination seance be held once more. Why would a lawyer work so hard to see the divination seance be held once more? You are a fool, barbed head, and your foolishness shall yield no gratitude from me. But with the truth revealed by my insights, I shall gladly seek your demise. Bring it on, princess, because I will correctly interpret each and every one of your insights. You will regret ever thinking you could use my sacred insights as evidence.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Well, that showed almost nothing. Oh my! It is just as Mr. Wright surmised. Praise-a-lot wasn't the victim's true name, and now at last we have seen the victim's final moments. But all we could see was the ground. You seem terribly disappointed. I take it you did not find any father for one of your infamous turnabouts. I, on the other hand, have discovered something. Conclusive evidence that establishes the accused's guilt. You did? A most surprising surprise attack! So tell us, Prosecutor Ohtani, what is this conclusive evidence you have found? The Plume Punisher theme song that the deceased heard. Please consider this item here. It was confiscated from the accuser during her interrogation. Hey, that's my Plume Punisher strap! Will you press the Magatama on the Plume Punisher's belt? Ah! It seems the accused inadvertently pressed the button in the midst of a crime. This strap is an extremely rare item, is it not, Miss Faye? You better not break it. There's only one of those in the whole world. Maya, no! It is just as I said. Your flights of fancy have come crashing down on me. She sure seems to be enjoying this. Yeah, I've never seen her look so thrilled before either. It is time to accept the fact that a divination seance is far more than mere evidence. It is the very truth that brings the hammer of justice down upon the accused. That is as conclusive as evidence can get. Now then, if there are no further objections...
Objection!
Slow down there, your majesty. At least let me make a counter-argument. What's this? Do you take issue with the divination seance? Oh, I have issues with it. I just don't know what they are yet. But that's never stopped me before. The divination seance is not the absolute truth. It only becomes the truth after it's been interpreted correctly. You do not know when you are beaten, do you, you foolish lawyer? I am the only one who speaks for the Mitama of the deceased. If you believe there to be errors in my insight, then let us see you prove it. Rafa's insight. The victim was offering up his prayers. It was the night of the rite. Though it was dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. Then, someone was there, and the theme to the Plume Punisher filled the air. The accused held the defenseless victim down and plunged a knife into his neck. The blade struck true, and in that instant, he departed from this world. That is everything the deceased experienced in his final moments. Our benevolence' insights have painted a detailed picture, both vivid and true. I didn't notice any holes there. As they stand now, those insights are really stacked against us. I'll just have to go over each and every one of the deceased's sensations very carefully. If it was, then this shouldn't be.
Objection!
Was it really the night of the rite? What do you mean? It could not be otherwise. The accused slew Acolyte Zella after killing the High Priest during the purification rite. The only problem is the deceased spirit does not corroborate that. What's this? Take a good look at what the victim smelled. Do you see how it says gingly? Acolyte Zella shouldn't have smelled any gingly on the night of the rite! What do you mean? Let me back up my statement with some evidence for you. This should explain how the victim couldn't have smelled gingly on the night of the rite.
Take that!
The High Priest's wife, believe in me, told me about the Feast of Blessings. The feast includes a number of gingly-based dishes, and they're only supposed to be served at a certain time the day before the rite. Why, I believe you're right! I had completely forgotten about that. During the feast, the unique smell of gingly pervades the entire kingdom. The fact that the victim smelled it means he was murdered between noon and 3 p.m. the day before the purification rite.
That's enough!
I am not so easily fooled. Did that autopsy report not make it clear? The estimated time of death was during the rite. Oh right, I taught her about that yesterday. Forgive me, your benevolence, but the estimated time of death is just that, an estimate. Depending on the circumstances, it's possible for it to change. What's this? Like if a body was kept cold, the slowed rate of decay makes the death seem more recent. Why, I believe I've heard something of the sort before. If it is as Mr. Wright claims, the estimated time of death in the autopsy report will have to be revised. Yeah! Barbed head, you! You blinded me with science! Sorry. Wait, what am I apologizing for? No matter. The murder may have occurred in the afternoon hours the day before the rite. Nevertheless, the murder weapon with the accused's prints on it is incontrovertible evidence. I will now amend my insight to account for this new truth. The time of death has been corrected, leaving my insight infallible. Nick! A change in the time of death is bound to cause some sort of inconsistency. If I had something that showed what it was like on that day, it could really help.
Objection!
Oh! Your benevolence, isn't this statement inconsistent with the vision? Inconsistent? I think not. Exactly! That's where the inconsistency lies. No, I believe it is in the defense's thought process that the inconsistency lies. What? Ah! Guess there wasn't an inconsistency there after all.
Objection!
There we go. I knew what that was. It was the site of the ground. The change in the date and the time of the crime has caused a new inconsistency to service. What's this? Ah! You're making that irritating face again! Cease that at once! Sorry, but this is the face I was born with. Now, let's focus on what it is and what is important. What the victim saw in his final moments. Do you have bats in the belfry, Barbed Head? There's nothing to see. The ground of the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes. And that's what I find so strange. On the day before the riot, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground. Impossible, you say? Do explain. This piece of evidence shows why the plaza's ground was not visible that day. Isn't it the weather report?
Take that!
This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size, but huge in importance. It says that the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the riot. What? But... The victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground. Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments? If you have something to say, then say it. The last thing the victim saw was not the ground at the Plaza of Devotion. This can only mean that he was killed elsewhere. What? 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 Then where do you propose the victim was actually killed? Yes, tell us where. Otherwise your argument is worthless. About that. Ah, I ain't gotten to that part yet. Any ideas, Maya? Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green as Shaggy, right? Right, but where could that be? What is it, Barbed Head? Giving up already? Not at all! Now, where have I seen something green as Shaggy? This shows where the victim was killed.
Take that!
The secret hideout the rebels were using. The rebel hideout? There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber. You're absolutely right. There's no place on the floor anyway. And what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout? This is what the victim saw in his final moments.
Take that!
The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs. As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab. That does agree with the seance vision. However, one cannot definitely declare they are one and the same. I concur. There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout. Indeed, what evidence do you have of this? I've already shown you the evidence. What do you mean? Please take a look at this second version of the photo I just showed you. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of that stone slab. Is this true? This information has already been provided to the police. Detective Sky, to whom does this blood belong? What, we thought it was the High Priest's blood that flowed in from outside, so we haven't tested it yet. Then you must do so at once! Yes, Your Majesty. It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Sky, your report, please. The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Perez-a-Lot, just like the defense claims. Detective Sky, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. There I will deliver a joyous sermon unto you for 8 hours straight. I'm really sorry, but please, anything but that! Nick, maybe, just maybe, this is the chance we've been waiting for. Yep, it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but... Go for it! It's full speed ahead! The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zealot praying during the rite, he was already dead! Ah! And that's not all. If he was killed at the Inner Sanctum, that would explain one more thing. And that would be how the time of death was made to look later than it actually was, the proof of which was left behind at the sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was.
Take that!
Why, these are photos of the inner sanctum. I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in this photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. You see how the snow has been removed from this one spot only? That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed. The time was mistaken, and the place too, and just what do you believe that proves? That my client is innocent. What of her fingerprints on the dagger, and the Plume Punisher theme the victim heard? You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence. I see your point. Wasn't this your big chance, Nick? I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or a theme song from being used as evidence against you. Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them. Really? What's this? You say you can contradict our argument for a key piece of evidence? Very well, let us see you try. Nick, take a good look at the rebel hideout photo. Oh! The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence. The Plume Punisher theme? And how do you intend to support such a claim? Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout, there's something there that played the theme song, other than my client's strap. It wasn't the strap? Is this true? The item that played the Plume Punisher theme song was this.
Take that!
This is a Plume Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off. What proof do you have that the alarm went
Objection!
off? What proof do you have that it was my client's strap that played the theme song? Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off of her prints on the murder weapon. And here's what really happened. Though there have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened. I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger. Most impressive, your benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case. No, there is one. What's this? You still claim there to be an inconsistency? Try as you might, the outcome will always be the same.
Objection!
The victim was originally thought to have been stabbed while bent over in prayer, but he was actually standing with his hands against the stone slab. So the question is, where did the sensation of something heavy come from? Ow! And tell us, Mr. Wright, what was that heavy sensation felt by the victim? What caused the heavy sensation Zella felt? Any thoughts, Maya? I agree, that sense of heaviness seems important, but there's also the matter of Zealot's hands on the stone slab. Why were they even there? Could it be related to the cause of the heavy sensation? Well, Mr. Wright, do you have an answer for us? Of course! If I just envisioned the state Zealot was in when he was killed, the cause of the heaviness the victim felt was the falling stone slab. The only conceivable cause is the stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath. What? Oh! The stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath. Right. That was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt. While your theory is impressive, you have overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death. Rather, he was stabbed. Oh, yeah. Or do you claim that the dagger was plunged in after the slab had fallen on him? Plus, had the killer been behind the victim, they would have both been crushed together. Well, would you care to explain? Sure, I'd love to. That doesn't mean I can. How could the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim? The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him. But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was? Well, there were other weapons in the rebel hideout. But the entrance to the hideout is right by the stone slab. There isn't enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within. Yeah, there's not much space by the entrance, is there? So what was the real murder weapon then? I better think of something. If the murder weapon wasn't the dagger, then the dagger must have been plunged into the victim after he was already dead. That means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that. Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something shaped like the dagger. Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century? Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like near the scene of the crime? Something that had a shape similar to the Warbot dagger? Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright. This shows what really killed the victim.
Take that!
Is this not the photo from the scene of the High Priest's murder? Are you suggesting the murder weapon is hidden herein? This is what really took Perez-Zalot's life.
Take that!
But that is the Warbot statue? Exactly. The Warbot statue has dagger-like feathers protruding from it. That is what really took the victim's life. You imbecilic fool! The statue is outside of the hideout! How do you propose it impale someone who was inside? Haven't you heard? The Warbot statue also functions as the hideout's door. What do you mean? The statue can pull a complete switcheroo. A switcheroo? To put it simply, it's a revolving door. A revolving door? Well, that makes perfect sense! Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance to be this. As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came toppling toward him. He threw up his hands to stop it, but his weight forced him backwards. Unfortunately, the Warbot statue was right behind him. This cannot be! But the accuser's fingerprints were found on the dagger. She had held it while rehearsing for the rite, which is when her prints got on it. Ah! This is a shocking turn of events, but there's a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor. I believe we must accept that the Warbot statue was what killed the victim. Now that we know how Acolyte Zealot really met his demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed this crime. Nice work, Nick! How could this be happening yet again? The divination seance is the only truth. No, your benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means for shedding light on the truth. Ugh! You understand now? Your kingdom needs lawyers so that they can interpret your insights. But that means I have been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time? Your benevolence! Are you unwell? All the color is drained from your face. I will be fine. Continue your proceedings without me. As you wish. I feel kind of bad for her. Now then, I would have the defense continue. Please explain what you have learned now that we know how the victim actually died. Acolyte Zealot was killed in the hideout before the High Priest's murder. That means the body found at the Plaza of Devotion was moved there by the real killer. only after the Warbot dagger was thrust into him to make it look like the murder weapon. That does seem to agree with what we now know, but why would the real killer go to such lengths? I believe stabbing Acolyte Zealot's body with the dagger and moving it to the plaza was to make it look like a serial murder. It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer. That's right, the real killer planned all of this. This forged serial murder case. They did? That's it, Nick. Keep hammering away! Your reasoning has more holes in it than that cheese you foreigners so enjoy. What? Like those putrid hole-riddled clumps of curds that only a rat like you could love. Your reasoning, much like your putrid hole-riddled brain, has putrefied. What's this deal with things going putrid? You have yet to overturn my argument that the accused is the killer. A careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows. Disguised as Lady Kira, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the riot. That Acolyte Zealot had followed her there after noticing her suspicious behavior. Caught by surprise, she pushed the stone slab toward him, and we know the rest. I've never been to the rebel hideout in my life! When the high priest arrived at the sanctum the next day, he realized what she had done. That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him. I believe Prosecutor Samari had posed a compelling scenario. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's guilt. Why would my client move Acolyte Zealot's body to where everyone could see it? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints into his dead body? She had no reason to do any of those things. The dagger in his corpse was likely a warning to the rebels. Something along the lines of Lady Kira was slayed the defiant dragons. So that is why she moved the body to the plaza for all to see. Now he has the judge convinced too? I thought I finally made some headway! Well, Mr. Wright, about time for one of your groans of distress, is it not? Your groan of distress? It kills me to admit this, but I've got nothing to counter his argument with, and I still haven't disproven the allegations against Maya. Is it not time to end your futile struggle? You were already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finally know peace. A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are not all lawyers who practice in crime? But I must admit, I misspoke earlier. Allow me to amend my statement. I had said the defense's reasoning had a putrid cheese-like smell. But I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body on the verge of death. Now I'm a rotting zombie. Think, who could have killed Zealot the day before the riot? Who knew about the rebel hideout and could gain access to the inner sanctum? Only those involved with the riot can enter the sanctum, so... Wait a second! Only a rebel would have known about the secret hideout, and the only person who was involved with the riot had access to the sanctum, and was suspected of being a rebel is... Ah! Did somebody come to mind? Yes, except there's one huge problem. A huge problem? What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from the sacred hall? I would not put it past you, considering you have no means to raise further objection. If I don't do something, Prosecutor Sanmari will have this one in the bag. I'll just have to bluff my way out of this, regardless of that huge problem. Yeah, the murderer behind both cases is dead. Your Majesty, I believe there is another suspect in Perez Zalot's murder. Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist. No, there is one person who knew everything. Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us, who might that be? I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zealot's murder is...
Take that!
It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum, and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the riot. You have hit a crime upon the dead, knowing very well they tell no tales. Have you no shame? Dead men tell no tales. That is definitely a problem. If only the High Priest could tell his side of the story. What? Do I have something on my face? Wait a second! Could this actually work? Oh no, don't tell me I have some of my breakfast caught between my teeth. No, if there's even the slightest possibility, I'll have to go with it. Your Majesty, dead men do tell tales. Therefore, I would like to request a High Priest's testimony. His testimony? And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify? There's a way for the dead to testify. It's known as channeling. Summon him here by means of spirit channeling. What did you just say? Spirit channeling? Has this lawyer finally gone insane? This is sacrilege! May the Holy Mother strike him down! Peace! I am frankly astonished you even know of such a thing. The spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Garon can perform. And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure. I suspected as much. That means our only hope is... It's okay, Nick. You could tell them. But Maya! I thought you wanted to keep it a secret here in Kurai. Don't worry. It's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precepts, so... I don't think we'll be punished. At least, I hope not. But this is a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become Master of Kurai. We don't have any other choice now, do we? If I'm found guilty, it'll be a lot worse than not becoming Master of Kurai. Alright, thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who is capable of channeling spirits. But even her benevolence, Princess Rafa, finds the divination seance to be a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she, aside from the Queen? That would be me. Is this some sort of a joke? A foreigner could not possibly have such power. Even the royal priestess isn't capable of such a feat. Peace! Peace, I say! Is this true? Is the accused capable of performing the secret art of spirit channeling? Well, yes. Yes, I can. Now, Your Majesty, we'd like your permission to begin. Your benevolence! This is an outrage! An outrage, I say! First, you make a mockery of the divination seance, and now spirit channeling? Her benevolence speaks the truth! Spirit channeling is a sacred right! Foreign devils! I think they should be put to death immediately! Still your voices! Barbed head, spirit channeling is a most sacred and secret of arts. Are you prepared to face the consequences of what you propose? Yes, I am. Your benevolence, are you saying you approve of their use of spirit channeling? I will judge whether their claim is true. If this is but another of their lies, they shall be executed on the spot. Very well then. Your benevolence? What if the accused accidentally calls forth an evil spirit? Do you truly believe this foreigner is capable of channeling spirits? Oh, no, but I wanted to be sure, as I am responsible for the safety of all present. Well, an inexperienced practitioner could inadvertently call forth a dangerous spirit. But do not fear, for I have a Magatama of parting. With it, I can send spirits back to the Twilight Realm by halting the flow of spiritual power. That is a relief indeed. These foreigners have thrown down the gauntlet. Let us not shirk from their challenge. We must prove them guilty and deliver their last rites. Do I make myself clear, Prosecutor Sadmati? Perfectly, Your Benevolence. Very well. The accused may channel the High Priest's spirit. But first, we must take a short recess to prepare. We will resume as soon as the preparations are complete. Until then, this court is adjourned. Alright, so that part is done, but we are not done. We are going to be concluding episode 3 today. Alright, next! Yes, continue. Take me a sip of water. Oh, hello. Jesus. Tomorrow. May 12th, High Court of Crime, Accused Lobby. Sorry, Maya, but this was the only way. You sure you're up for this? Thanks for believing in me, even though I don't know if my channeling ability is on point yet. Oh, right. Before she started training here, her success rate was only about 30%. I know you can do it, Maya. At least I hope she can. So, you sure you're ready? Yeah, at least I think so. You don't sound so confident. What about all your training? Training's one thing, actually doing it is another. Oh, I see. Uh-oh. If she fails to channel the High Priest, we're as good as dead. Relax, Nick. You can count on me. I'll show you what my training's done for me. This will be a moment you never forget. Okay. I just hope it's unforgettable in a good way. Once we hear Abbot Inmi's story, I'm sure the truth will come to light. I hope so. But he was hiding the fact that he was a rebel, so I doubt it will be as cut and dried as all that. They are ready for you. Please return to the Hall of Justice at once. Okay, Maya, I'm counting on you. You got it. Here we go. May 12th, High Court of Kurai. We have received official approval for the accused to channel a spirit here today. Now, if you will, Miss Faye, please proceed. Yes, Your Majesty. I can't believe this! Only the Queen should channel spirits! Execute them! Put them to death right now! Come on, Maya, I'm counting on you! I have been studying here in Kurai for 2 years now, so that one day I will be the master of Kurai, a village of spirit mediums back home. But first I shall show you all the fruits of my training in your kingdom. Wow, she seems really confident. A neophyte practitioner such as you could not possibly channel a spirit. Okay, Your Benevolence, how about this? If I succeed, will you stop calling me a neophyte? Very well, if you succeed. Oh, I will. Just you watch. O spirit of trust in me, slumbering in the twilight realm, return now to the world of the living. What is this place? Oh my! No! This cannot be! Bukunka! It's the High Priest! The accused really can channel spirits! I don't believe it. The accused's spiritual power is the real deal! Go, Maya! I do not understand. This cannot be. This simply cannot be! I must step out now before I forget myself. Abbot Inmi! Would this be the Twilight Realm? And what of this luxurious mane of hair? Is it perhaps a gift from the Holy Mother for decades of faithful service? Abbot Inmi? My, what if it isn't his Majesty? Have you too shuffled off that mortal coil? Please do not count me among the dead. It is only you who has passed on. But the spirit medium Maya Fey has brought you back among us today. Why? Acolyte Fey has mastered the secret art of spirit channeling? I suppose that explains these gorgeous locks. When I pass from this world, I too hope to be channeled with a full head of hair. So it be for the briefest of moments. I give thanks for this splendid quash. Praise be to the Holy Mother! However, this kimono is a bit too snug for my taste. If you would excuse me. There, that is better. Can we get to his testimony now? And I wish he'd kept his top on! Why, you are that foreign lawyer the people speak of as of late. Is this not the Hall of Justice? Why have I been summoned here? Forgive us for calling you back from your eternal rest. But you have been accused of murder. Might we ask you to testify on your own behalf? I have been accused of murder. That is troubling indeed. Ah! What's with that crazy pose? Is this really cause for such astonishment? Even the lowliest of monks can achieve such body control with the proper training. Oh, I wonder if Albi will be able to do that someday. Will the defense please explain the situation to the High Priest? I'd be happy to. Your disciple Peresalot has been murdered. It happened on the day before the purification rite. And the crime occurred in the rebel hideout, hidden within the inner sanctum. Acolyte Zilot! He has been killed! Would do such a thing? Someone who knew of the hideout and had access to the inner sanctum. In other words, you, Abbot and me. After all, weren't you secretly a rebel? Oh dear. That's still Maya's body. Hope he doesn't break anything. Wow, the High Priest is amazing! I think he had mastered such an advanced prayer pose. He's still worthy of our veneration, even if he is a rebel. Praise be to the Holy Mother! Praise be to the Holy Mother! Oh my, have my rebel allegiances has been exposed. Not even my wife knew of that. It seems to rest in peace. It's not my fate. Why did you, a devout priest of Kurainism, join the rebellion? The High Priest has come back to us for but a brief time, defense. Shall we not cut to the chase and ask the most pressing of questions? Oh, right! Abbot Inmi, the prosecution believes the one who slew both you and Acolyte Zella to be Maya Fey, who had been playing the role of Lady Kira in the rite. Being that I was dead until just a moment ago, my memory is a bit hazy. Could you please do your best to remember?
Objection!
The High Priest says his memory is hazy. It is all coming back to me. It is as Prosecutor Samadi concluded. I was slain by none other than Maya Fey. High Priest's statement has proven my assertions with regards to his murder correct. No! But what about Acolyte Zelot? You were the one who killed him, weren't you? I know not about my disciple's murder. Furthermore, I have an alibi of my own. An alibi? Seriously? It seems the testimony the defense had been hoping for is working against them. Now, Abbot Inmi, your testimony, if you please. Yes, of course. I have an alibi. Give me a minute, ladies and gentlemen. My eyes are really watery right now. And I don't know what's going on. Give me a second. Okay, so my eyes were actually bloodshot from a lack of sleep. I didn't really get that much good sleep last night. I think I passed out around 3:50? 3:50 last night? Maybe 4? 4? I just know it was pretty late in the morning by the time I went to sleep. Luckily, I had some clear eyes in my medicine cabinet, so that should take care of my problem for right now. I have an ironclad alibi for the time during which the murder took place. This past noon on the day before the riot, I was entertaining guests at my home. And I believe my guests can corroborate this. You had guests? Just past noon. That's right about the time Zelot was murdered. Are you sure about that? Absolutely. Come to think of it, Rafa told me about a spirit's memory. The spirit's memory is cut off at the moment of death. So even a spirit that is brought back after centuries doesn't sense any gap in time between the moment of its death and the moment it is channeled? Yes, and yet it clearly recalls all of the memories it had in life. The high priest seems to know exactly what he's talking about. So, the question is, what would be the best angle of attack? Alright. May as well press for information because I don't think I have anything to work with right now. Use the word alibi as if it were second nature. Are you perhaps mocking me? Or is it perhaps the kingdom of Khura'in itself you wish to ridicule? Come on, everyone and their grandma knows what alibi means. We're not a bunch of country bumpkins here. There are plenty of courtroom dramas on TV. Peace! Peace! Peace, I say! Mr. Wright, would you care to clarify your last statement? Please, don't take it the wrong way. It's just, alibi is a rather technical term for a priest to use so naturally. I assure you, I know how to use the term. In fact, I had even hoped for a chance to do so one day. I suppose that even I, a high priest, am not immune to such trivial wordly attachments. Oh, I see. Still, he seems unusually calm and composed. He's almost as if he had prepped himself for something like this. Just past noon on the day before the riot, I was entertaining guests at my home. Guests? And you were entertaining them personally? That I was. We gathered around the table for a most enjoyable conversation. He said his guests could corroborate his alibi. That can't be good for our case. Are you sure that was the same day as the murder? Maybe you've misremembered. Ka! Do not doubt my mnemonic faculties! I may have died, but my memories up to that point are crystal clear! So sorry, he's pretty thin-skinned for a priest. Though I guess I should have known better than to doubt his memory. The spirit's memory is cut off at the moment of death. So even a spirit that is brought back after centuries doesn't sense any gap in time between the moment of its death and the moment it is channeled? Yes, and yet it clearly recalls all of the memories it had in life. There's nothing better than enjoying kingly cuisine with dear friends. That way, everyone's breath becomes equally malodorous. Right. And I believe my guests could corroborate this. And who exactly were your guests that day? Don't tell me they were rebels, so they can't be called here to testify. It was none other than this magistrate, along with his family. He couldn't attend the rite to work, so he stopped by ahead of time. My, how his daughter has grown. Wait a second. Let me set the record straight right now. I am not a rebel. Thank you for that wonderful meal, Abbot Enmy. Lady Enmy's cooking simply cannot be beat. So there you have it. When exactly was His Majesty at your home? He was there from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Indeed, precisely the time period within which Acolyte Zealot was slain. Yes, and we had a rousing chat concerning the game of Kachu Denma. But I'll just have that added to the testimony. After all, it was I who visited the High Priest's home. My guests that day were His Majesty and his family. They visited from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Hold it!
How do you know the time of when the crime happened? Your Majesty, are you sure this testimony is completely accurate? As sure can be. Oh, how wonderful it is to finally have my actions be admissible as evidence in court. His Majesty was at my home during the exact time period of the murder. Come, let us put this behind us. I could not have possibly committed this crime. How can you be so sure? What if the clock or watch you were using was off or you misread the time? There was a clock right near the table, and it had the exact same time as my watch. Now do you understand, lawyer? As you can see, my alibi is airtight. Or do you still think I could have killed Acolyte Zealot? Ah! His Majesty's a witness? Are you satisfied now? There's not a single discrepancy in Abbot Indy's alibi. If I give up now, it's all over. Now hold on a second. Is there something, anything wrong with the High Priest's testimony? There is. There is a discrepancy in the High Priest's testimony. There is? Well, then perhaps you could explain what it might be. This is what was wrong with his testimony. He knew the time of the crime. After Abbot Indy was channeled, no one ever stated what time Acolyte Zealot was murdered. Now that you mention it, despite that, you claim to have an alibi from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. That means you knew that Acolyte Zealot was dead when you were still alive! Huh! Wait, I think I saw something just now. No, I must be imagining things. So tell me, how did you know what time the crime had been committed? About that. Dancing fingers, he's nervous. Open your heart, let the Holy Mother in! Well, why? We've been blessed with the High Priest's sacred words of prayer. All who serve her holiness must strive to banish worldly desires from their souls. Open your heart! Let the Holy Mother in! Purge your mind of greed and bias! I feel as if my very soul has been cleansed. You can't fool me. Prayer may banish worldly desires, but it can't make a contradiction disappear. And then this guy shows up. How can you be so sure? What's that supposed to mean? This lawyer seems to think little of the power of coronous prayer. Huh? Abbot Indy was at home during the crime, but knew of what happened at the hideout. I believe this can be explained thus. He must have had a way to monitor the hideout from his home. What?! You never cease to amaze, prosecutor. As he has surmised, there was a listening device installed at the hideout. It enabled me to instantly learn of anything unusual, even when I was not there. Remember, the rebels had been using this as a top-secret hideout. It would be perfectly natural for them to install such an apparatus. Wait, come to think of it, when I was searching the rebel hideout... There's something under the banner. A microphone? What's this doing here? Was someone trying to record something with it? That was a listening device. It starts recording whenever it detects movement. I heard just such a recording after His Majesty and his family left. If you look in the desk in my study, you will find the tape in question. Alright then. Bailiff! Yes, Your Majesty. Go retrieve the tape in question from the High Priest's home. At once, Your Majesty. The power of coronous prayer. Even a putrid brain such as yours should understand it now. It's like the contradiction really did vanish. We shall ascertain the content of the recording once we have the tape. In the meantime, I would ask Abbot Inmi to continue with his testimony. Very well. I was entertaining His Majesty and his family when the crime occurred. When I listened to the tape later, I heard a man and a woman quarreling. It sounded like an altercation between Acolyte Zelot and Acolyte Faye. After that, there was a loud noise, followed by haunting silence. I had to find some way to attack his alibi. If only Maya were here. She has a way of putting me at ease. But seeing her like this is only creeping me out! Though the High Priest was a rebel, he was still a Kuranist holy man. Therefore, take care in your questioning, lest you invoke the ire of our people. How dare you suspect the High Priest? May the Holy Mother strike him blind! As if this wasn't hard enough already. Nice try, but I'll stop at nothing to find the truth.
Hold it!
You were entertaining His Majesty and his family during the crime? Indeed, my wife believed was treating them to a wonderful home cooking. Your wife was there that day? Why, yes. She was in the kitchen cooking up a storm the entire time. Come to think of it, I don't think I saw her at all that day. She takes her culinary duties most seriously, you see. That is why she was in the kitchen cooking without pause the entire day. So the judge never saw Mrs. Inmi? Should I have Abbot Inmi add that to his statement? Please add that statement to your testimony. As you wish.
Hold it!
Hold on. Are you sure about those voices? Was it really Acolyte Zella and Miss Faye? I say that was the most reasonable conclusion under the circumstances. Perhaps Acolyte Faye has an alibi that you can prove. I'm afraid not. And I suggest you make like a mollusk and clam up! Now I will continue my testimony, if I may. After that, there was a loud noise, followed by haunting silence.
Hold
it! A loud noise? I say that's worth looking into. It was a terrible crashing sound. For Acolyte Zelot. It must have felt so heavy. It must have been the sound of that stone slab falling over. Can I have him add that statement to his testimony? Please add that statement to your testimony. As you wish. I will describe the noise as a terrible crash. Poor Zelot. It must have felt so heavy. My wife Believe was in the kitchen cooking the entire time. What was your wife making that day? The menu that day featured Hutton Spice and Meltonma. They are both traditional Koreanese dishes. I can't even begin to imagine what those are. Ah, yes! The exquisite zest of Hutton Spice and supreme texture of melted malt. Lady Inmi's cooking that day was utterly unforgettable. Thank you. It brings me great joy to know you enjoyed your meal. Now, once His Majesty and his family had left, when I listened to the tape later, I heard a man and woman quarreling.
Hold it!
I heard everything from a recording? Indeed. Each night I would secretly check what the listening device had recorded. I would have been in serious trouble with my lovely wife had she discovered my secret. Can you really tell what happened by the audio alone? Long years of aesthetic training have sharpened my hearing. It is but a simple matter for me to ascertain a situation by the sound level. Practicing craniism improves your hearing? Hearing is but one of the senses it can improve. If one can focus and attain inner peace, all 5 senses can be sharpened. Why, the warbot over in the bazaar just cried. Did you not hear it? Give me a break.
Hold it!
You believe that terrible crash is connected to Acolyte Zealot's death? Yes, the sound, no doubt, was poor Zealot's death knell. Such a tragedy, for he was a fine disciple. I would ask all here today to give a prayer for his departed soul. Tushirai Matane Yoma! Matane Yoma. Tushirai Matane Mo Yoma. I had high hopes for that young man's future. Sushirai Matame Yoma. Why do I feel like such a jerk for just trying to do my job right now? Mr. Wright, do you still feel the need to question the High Priest? His alibi is as tight can be. This isn't going so well. I better ask him about something else. I'm curious, Abbot Indy. Did you stop by the rebel hideout after His Majesty left? Yes, I thought it would be wise to assess the situation. But as I said before, there was nothing to see. The hideout appeared as it always had. And the victim's body? It was nowhere to be found. Acolyte Faye must have already disposed of it, and anything else incriminating. So, when you saw the rebel hideout, it looked like it does in this photo? Yes, I would say that is how it appeared that day. But the stone slab had been put back in place. Mr. Wright, is it not time to concede defeat? No, wait! I need just a little more time! If you insist.
Objection!
Abbot Indy, you said, and I quote, poor Zealot. It must have felt so heavy. Why do you think he felt something heavy? You said the hideout looked like it did in this photo. If so, there's nothing that would lead you to believe he had experienced a heavy feeling. The fact is, of course, the stone slab did fall over onto Acolyte Zealot, impaling him on the warbot statue behind him. But that was only revealed through her benevolence divination seance earlier. The defense, please get to the point. My point is, simply hearing a crashing sound shouldn't have automatically led him to conclude the victim was crushed to death. I still don't see your point. I'm saying that the High Priest knew. He knew how the victim was really killed! Why? That is information only the real killer could have known! I definitely saw it that time! Look at the High Priest's spirit shaking in his boots! Or should I say sandals? Need I remind you, Abbot Indy was with His Majesty at the time of the crime. Such an alibi precludes him from being the killer. That's true, so he can't be the killer. However, he knew how Zealot was killed, something only the killer could know. Can this discrepancy be resolved somehow? Well, Mr. Wright, we're waiting for an explanation. I was just getting to that. Trying to think of something quick. The High Priest knew something only the killer could have known because he heard it from the real culprit. He must have heard how the victim died from the real killer. The real killer? Of course, that makes perfect sense. I don't want to believe it, but this is the only possible explanation. So tell us, who is this real killer? It's gotta be someone close to the High Priest. Someone without an alibi. The person most likely to be Zealot's killer is...
Take that!
Your Majesty, while you were visiting the High Priest's home, you didn't see Mrs. Inmy at all, did you? No, I never saw her, but what does that have to do with anything? Did the High Priest ever leave your sight? No, we were talking the entire time, and the food was brought right to the room's entryway. So, the High Priest has an ironclad alibi. But his wife does not! What the devil are you insinuating? I'm insinuating that Mrs. Inmee might have killed Acolyte Zelon.
Objection!
You have a lot of nerve making such a baseless allegation. She had no motive to kill Acolyte Zelon. He was like family to her. No, we can't entirely discount the idea. Especially if you consider that Mrs. Inmee could have been the one posing as Lady Kira. Even a fool must temper his foolishness at times. Or do you truly believe Lady Kira would kill Acolyte Zelon, though he was not a rebel?
Objection!
As we all know, the High Priest was secretly a rebel. It would follow that his favorite disciple could very well be a rebel too. Are you suggesting that Mrs. Inmee killed her husband as well? As sad as it is to think she'd kill her own husband to rid the kingdom of rebels, I don't think we can rule it out. Huh! Yikes! You claim my wife is that rebel-hunting Lady Kira, and that she slew both Zella and myself. My lovely wife! That is utterly impossible! I've seen the High Priest so angry, just as Abbot Inmee stated. And the accused has already been found guilty of his murder. It is far too late to overturn it. That's right, Mr. Wright! Now apologize to the good priest before he gets angry again! Quickly now! No, I'm not going to apologize. The true identity of Lady Kira is a major piece to this trial's puzzle. Admit it, Abbot Inmee. Your wife, Lady Inmee, killed you. Yet even now, you continue to lie in an effort to protect her. How absurd! It appears the lawyer has forgotten. My lovely wife could not possibly battle the rebels in the guise of Lady Kira, for we were blessed by her holiness, and she is with child. Praise be to the Holy Mother! Ha! I completely forgot about that. That abominable Lady Kira figure who slew me and Acolyte Zella was the accused. This is bad, but I can't give up now. Don't forget, my client doesn't have the strength to fight rebels either. How could a weak young woman like her possibly? Oath of a lawyer. If only you were as blessed as Lady Inmee. What? Surely the accused possesses the strength, or should I say, the power. The power to battle those black-hearted rebels. But what are you talking about? My good prosecutor, I see you have come to the same conclusion as I. Such keen insight! Then you have figured it as well, Abbot Inmee. I ask you to explain it to this putrid-brained lawyer. Certainly, and I cannot allow him to frame my lovely wife for murder. For devil! Your Majesty, allow me to testify as to how my affair is that murderous Lady Kira. Well, if it would assuage your anger, then by all means, please testify. Maya Fey is Lady Kira. Acolyte Fey channeled Lady Kira's spirit. She's a spirit medium who knows Lady Kira's true name, so she could have done it. So it was the real Lady Kira who returned to root out the rebels among us. She attacked and killed me with a strength far beyond any mortal woman. But doesn't she need to know their face, too? And Lady Kira wears a mask, so... not possible. But, do you understand now? Murder by spirit channeling explains everything. This is the only way the accused could have defeated one rebel after another. Indeed, I am a living, or shall I say, dead proof of her terrible power. Ah! Maya's ability to channel spirits has come back to haunt her! Now, is it not time to let it go and move on, Defense? No, never! I'll never give up! Now what? Think! How can I prove that Maya couldn't have channeled Lady Kira? Not true.
Objection!
You need to know their name and face. The Tome of Secrets is only given to the priestess who performs the purification rite. Is this your proof that my client could have channeled Lady Kira? Yes, indeed. For it contains the true name of Lady Kira, a secret only revealed within. Abbott in me. I'm afraid you're mistaken. This couldn't have been used to channel Lady Kira. Where did my sound go? What nonsense! Mr. Wright, would you care to explain? This is why my client couldn't have channeled Lady Kira. What happened to the music?
Take that!
Lady Kira's face is hidden behind a mask in the Tome of Secrets. You need both a name and a face to channel a spirit. It can't be! Without a face, it would have been impossible for my client to channel Lady Kira. Oh my! Therefore, the claim that she became Lady Kira by means of spirit channeling is patently false. Huh! And with Lady Kira out of the equation, my client had no motive to commit murder. But then, who is the rebel-hunting Lady Kira we've been reading about in the paper? Yes, who is this other suspect, if indeed there is one at all? Let us hear the defense's brilliant deduction. Think! The true identity of Lady Kira is the key to solving both murders. I thought Mrs. Inmee was suspicious, but her pregnancy takes her out of the running. And Mr. Arabelle is a rebel, so that doesn't make sense. That leaves us with... Mr. Wright, you have that look again. The one where you know you have to say something, but you can't figure out what it is. This is my chance to really turn up the heat. I'll just have to stir the pot till something floats to the top. The Magistrate, I know who's been posing as the rebel-hunting Lady Kira. You do? Are you sure about that? Yes, completely. I sense that I may regret this, but please go on and explain. Thank you, Your Majesty. This is who's been posing as the rebel-hunting Lady Kira. Praise the Lord. The true identity of the rebel-hunting Lady Kira we seek is... Praise the Lord! What's this? The High Priest murdered, discipled, was Lady Kira, you say? Peace! I say peace! The defense will continue. Yes, Your Majesty. I whittled down the list of suspects until there was only one left. But a process of elimination is not the same as solid evidence. I assume you have evidence to back up your claim. Yes, of course. I'll have some in a moment, that is. At least I hope so. Maya wasn't Lady Kira, and neither was Mrs. Inmee or any of the other possibilities. That leaves Zealot, and I have the evidence to prove it. The evidence that proves Acolyte Zealot was posing as Lady Kira is this. The music has been completely glitched out. Glitched out in this chapter. What is going on?
Take that!
This is what proves that Acolyte Zealot was Lady Kira. Lady Kira's warning letter. How absurd! What could that possibly prove? Prosecutor Sadmati, you stated that this warning letter proved that my client was Lady Kira, and the reason you gave was that the High Priest's house was locked tight. But there was another member of the family who lived there. Oh! Therefore, Acolyte Zealot could have delivered the warning anytime he wanted. There's the music! What is he talking about? That's just not possible. Are you saying Lady Kira was not the culprit, but rather the victim? That's exactly what I'm saying. But that would overturn the entire premise of this case! This trial is proceeded on the assumption Lady Kira was behind the serial killing. But if Lady Kira is one of the victims, who was the killer, and what was their motive? The only suspect left is Mrs. Indy, and there's only one possible motive. What if Mrs. Indy is a rebel? What? Fiend! You're still bent on casting suspicion upon my lovely wife? Blasphemer! You have no evidence of this! Repent for the mistrust in your soul! Well, you have no evidence either. After all, the dagger with my client's prints on it wasn't what killed Acolyte Zealot. And the Plume Punisher theme that he heard could have been an alarm clock. That means all the evidence linking her to the crime has been called into question. Lady Indy a rebel? And did she pose as Lady Kira to kill Acolyte Zealot? Or was Acolyte Zealot a rebel? Or was the accused of Lady Kira who killed him? I would say either scenario is just as likely. What are we to do now? The alarm clock, you say? Do you mean the one in the rebel hideout? Yes, but what of it? So that's it. What's gotten into him? Abbott in me! Just what is so comical? Forgive my outburst, that has simply tickled my funny bone. What did? The theme song came from the Plume Punisher clock, you say? That alarm could not possibly have gone off. What makes you say that? The clock was working just fine the last time I checked. Try using your head for a change. Would not the existence of a secret hideout be given away if an alarm kept going off? Wait, you don't mean... Indeed, we leave the alarm switched off at all times. No! In that case, I'm sad to say that the defense's claim does not hold water. Would you care to respond, Mr. Wright? Oh, this can't be happening. Not now! This should put an end to the lawyer's futile struggles. The theme song the victim heard was from the accuser's strap, just as we suspected. Therefore, the accused is the rebel hunting Lady Kira, and the victim's killer. I need an opening, something I can raise an objection to. That Plume Punisher theme song Acolyte Zealot heard in his final moments. I too heard it by way of the listening device. But did you really? If you had heard it, why didn't you testify to the fact before? Is it not obvious? You did not know such a tune could become a key matter of dispute. Yes, the matter of the theme song came up before Abbott Indy was channeled. Oh, right. Well then, what if he's lying about the clock's alarm being switched off? Miserable wretch! That would be a pointless lie, one easily disproven. If you check the clock, you will see that the alarm is, in fact, switched off. Come to think of it. What a fine item. And this switch, if I'm right... We set the switch back into the off position before we left. I remember hearing it clearly. Those distinctive taiko drums in the intro are etched in my mind. They went... Taka-don, don, 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 don. Distinctive taiko drums in the intro. This trial has gone on far too long. Shall we move ahead to the verdict phase now? By all means, and let us also return Abbott Indy's spirit to the Twilight Realm. Before I go, let me say a word to my darling...
Objection!
Now hold on just 1 minute! Your Majesty. Yes? The High Priest's statement is inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence. It is? Still you writhe in defiance of your fate! The very sight reminds me of a tortured soul, writhing in flames! You won't be saying that once I show you the evidence. Now, all I have to do is pick the right one. This piece of evidence is inconsistent with that statement about the taiko drum intro.
Take that!
This is what's inconsistent with this statement. My client's Plume Punisher strap. does that have to do with anything? He plays the Plume Punisher theme song. And here it is, the theme to the Plume Punisher, Warrior of Neo Twilight Realm. No taiko drums. You see what I mean? The music the victim heard in his final moments might not have been the Plume Punisher theme song. I'm afraid I am not following you. What was it if not the Plume Punisher theme? In his final moments, Acolyte Zealot heard the Steel Samurai theme. There are no taiko drums in the intro of the Plume Punisher theme, so what Acolyte Zealot actually heard in his final moments was the theme of the Steel Samurai, Warrior of Neo Tokyo. Peace! Peace! Peace, I say! Mr. Wright, what is the Steel Samurai of which you speak? The Steel Samurai, Warrior of Neo Tokyo is an action hero show from America. The Plume Punisher theme is is very similar to it. If you didn't know about the Steel Samurai, you could easily mistake the two. But the fact that Acolyte Zealot heard music from an American action hero show is irrefutable evidence that the accused was in the secret hideout. Actually, no. You have it backwards. But backwards? That's right. Miss Faye met an avid Plume Punisher fan here in Kurai, and as a token of their friendship, she traded a certain Steel Samurai item she had for the Plume Punisher strap. And this avid Plume Punisher fan was the one who killed Acolyte Zealot? Yes. And that avid fan is none other than the High Priest's wife. Believe in me! You have evidence to back up this claim, Mr. Wright? Or as forgiving as the Holy Mother is. I doubt she would tolerate yet another dose of your baseless slander. I suggest you prepare yourself to face her holiness's wrath. Oh, I'm prepared. Turn this entire case upside down, that is. This is my last chance. I better take a deep breath and review the evidence. Very well then, please present your evidence if you would, defense. The evidence that proves Mrs. Inmee was the one who killed Acolyte Zealot is this. The family photo! It's right here, in this family photo. Proof that Mrs. Inmee and Mrs. Faye traded items featuring their favorite characters. A family photo! And what exactly should we be looking at here? The proof that they exchanged items featuring their favorite characters is right here.
Take that!
Look at Mrs. Inmee's left wrist. You can see the Steel Samurai's trademark top knot right there. Which clearly makes this a Steel Samurai watch. Huh! Why, I never knew your wife had such hobbies, Abbott Inmee. This family photo was taken right before Acolyte Zealot was murdered. By that point, my client had the Punisher strap, and Mrs. Inmee had the Samurai watch. So what the victim heard in his final moment was none other than the sound of the watch Mrs. Inmee was wearing. I wish to amend my testimony. What I thought were taiko drums or something else. My wife never had such a watch. It's the truth, I tell you. You ought to believe in your majesty. Not deceived by the defense's loyalist chicanery. Now what? You've been pretty quiet up to this point. What does he have up his sleeve? There's a big gaping hole in his flimsy claim. A big gaping hole? I don't think so. Oh no, I'm afraid it is there, all right. Just like the big gaping holes in your putrid brain. My brain is neither putrid nor full of holes. I'm not a zombie, after all. Says the dead lawyer walking. He who has narrow of vision focuses on what is before him, never seeing the big picture. Whereas they say in your country, you cannot see the forest for the trees. Or it is as you said, a Lady Inmee, the rebel, slew Acolyte Zealot, the rebel hunting Lady Kira. Then the rebel hunter would have been dead before the High Priest was slain. Ha! That means the High Priest could not have been slain by the rebel hunting Lady Kira. Ha! How could I have missed that? So tell me, who are you going to say killed the High Priest now? No! Do you finally understand the sheer size of the holes that riddle your putrid brain? Ha! I'm in hot water now. I don't have any other suspects in the High Priest's murder. You mindless zombie. You should have begun your journey into the Twilight Realm long ago. Now let it go and move on! No, I will never give up. I just need to think things through and figure out who really killed the High Priest. If Acolyte Zealot had been Lady Kira, he couldn't have killed the High Priest. So the question is, who did? Maybe I could get to the bottom of this by reviewing the events of this case in order. What evidence could tell me something about the crime scene before the murder? Maya's testimony. The spring was stained red before the rite. Oh right, Maya said that the spring had been stained red before the rite even began. The spring was already red before the High Priest's murder because of the Zealot's blood. The spring was stained red by Zealot's blood. That's right. Zealot had been killed in the rebel hideout the day before the rite, and his blood had flowed into the spring. Wait a second, the High Priest knew that Zealot had been killed in the hideout, so why didn't he report it to the authorities? If Maya had been the killer, he could have easily had her arrested on the spot. Why didn't the High Priest inform the authorities right then, to keep the hideout hidden? He wanted to keep the hideout secret. If he reported Zealot's murder, the authorities would find out about the hideout. That's what he was worried about. But by going through with the rite, the High Priest risked having Maya see the spring running red with blood. Why did he have to go through with the rite? Did he want to set up the scene during it? Use the rite to cover things up. He wanted to set up the crime scene to conceal the hideout. But how was he planning on concealing the source of the blood in the spring? He used his own blood. He killed himself. Stained the spring with his own blood. He concealed the source of the blood with his own. That was how he kept the rebel hideout a secret. It's all starting to fall into place. I know who killed the High Priest. It was Rust himself! Rust's death was a suicide! I can't believe it! The High Priest took his own life to keep the rebel hideout a secret! The High Priest wasn't murdered by anyone. He took his own life to keep the rebel hideout a secret! What? 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 What's this? The High Priest committed suicide? I've never heard anything more absurd! The lawyer has placed a stain on the good priest's death with his putrid brain. His putrid gaping holes are as large as the hole in his logic. What hole? You still fail to understand. You truly cannot see the forest for the trees. You claim the High Priest took his own life, but have you considered who brought the dagger to the Plaza of Devotion? After the High Priest was killed, the dagger was thrust into Acolyte Zealot's dead body. Only the accused, Maya Fey, could have done that. It is as Prosecutor Sadmati says. Your claim is rather porous in its logic, and your evidence is too weak. You cannot prove that the High Priest took his own life to conceal the rebel hideout. They're right. The dagger was impaled in Zealot's body, but his body had been placed at the plaza the previous day. Well, Mr. Wright, would you care to respond? Zealot's body was already in the plaza the day before the rite. But what if the dagger was also already in him at that time? The dagger was never at the inner sanctum. Rust died by a different weapon. Of course, that's it! What is it? There was no need to move the dagger. It had already been stabbed into Acolyte Zealot's body the day before the rite. What? So that means... What does that mean? It means the dagger wasn't the weapon that took the High Priest's life. But no weapon was ever found at the inner sanctum. If you will not listen to reason, then I insist you prove your assertion. Show us what you believe the real murder weapon to be. The real weapon? Got nothing, but I know there had to have been a weapon there. Maybe if I think back on the trial thus far, I'll spot the clue I need. Well, would the defense care to tell us what the real murder weapon is? This is what really killed the High Priest.
Take that!
What really killed him has been at the inner sanctum all this time, and its lethality has already been demonstrated by the late Acolyte Zealot. That's right! It was the Warbot statue! Pokunka! You believe that the statue claimed both victims' lives? Would you care to chime in, Abbot Inley? No! He lies! Pay him no heed! Why, it's... Lady Inley! Darling, don't you think this has gone on long enough? Believe! No! Your Majesty, my wife knows nothing! Please, Abbot Inley, let your wife speak. Now, Lady Inley, please continue if you would. It's that time again. And what time would that be? 2:30 in the afternoon. The time my husband conducts his daily prayers. And the time Puree was slain. But that sound, it's the Steel Samurai alarm! I too like to pray at the same time as my dear husband, so I set an alarm to remind me each day, but I had no idea it would come to this. No, stop! She knows not what she speaks! Your Majesty, I am the one who slew Acolyte Zealot. Ah! Abbot Inley! Bailiff, summon the physician at once! This is now attending the High Priest, so there is no need to fear. Now, let us continue. And what about the half of him called Maya that's still among the living? Mrs. Inley, will you tell us everything you know? The truth is, I am a rebel, just like my husband. This tragedy unfolded before the rite, during the Feast of Blessings. I had gone to the rebel hideout to prepare for Dats's escape. And that's when Acolyte Zealot suddenly appeared. Yes, Puree was shocked when he saw me there. Acolyte Zealot did not know you were a rebel. I do not believe he did. I believe he was there simply to investigate the hideout. And then he suddenly came face to face with Mrs. Inley. So, the true identity of the rebel-hunting Lady Kira was Puree Zealot? Yes, he was a member of the secret police, serving directly under the Minister of Justice. The secret police?! And this is what he said to me. I could kill rebels with impunity. The Justice Minister has my back. He was using the position within the secret police to deal us rebels a heavy blow. But murder sanctioned by the Crown is still murder. Even without the DC Act, Turk and his insurgent scum buddies' days are numbered. What's that supposed to mean? Let's just say, I got a little trick up my sleeve, so I'd watch it if I were you. Because you got a defiant attitude, like one of them dragon dudes. The trick up Minister Inga's sleeve was Lady Kira. No, this can't be! My father would never! This must be a bolt out of the blue for Rafa. This explains why Acolyte Zealot abandoned his real name. Yes. Even went as far as covering up the tattoo that all Coronus clergy members were seeing. Lady Kira was a member of the secret police. That explains why no order was given to investigate her attacks. I guess I'm not alone in hearing this for the first time. But, this cannot be! Is this true? The Justice Minister is sanctioning state-sponsored murder? Peace! Now, Lady Inley, please continue. Ray suddenly lunged at me. That's when I pushed the stone slab toward him with all my might. But I never meant for what happened next to occur. Allow me to take it from here. Abbott, in me! Are you sure you're all right now? I am sorry you had to see that, but you need not worry about me. I am already dead. Please, you need to know what was so important that you would take your own life. After I learned that my wife had accidentally slain Zealot, I chilled his body with snow to make it seem as if he died more recently than he did. Then, I later moved into the Plaza of Devotion and inserted a dagger into his wound. The plaza was empty at the time, for it was before prayer time had started. Finally, I placed his body in the prayer pose, knowing that no one would notice anything was wrong until the rite had concluded. It is perfectly plausible that no one would disturb him if he seemed to be praying. We do treasure our prayer time, after all. So you admit you tried to pin this crime on Maya Fey? Yes, this was all my doing. I never told my wife of my plan, or surely she would have tried to stop me. How did you get Miss Fey's fingerprints on the dagger? I had her hold it while we were rehearsing the rite the day before. Right before the rite, I drugged her with a sleeping agent. Then I put Lady Kira's robes over the Warbot statue. That means Maya was probably already groggy by the time the rite started. Finally, I ended my own life, to ensure that the crime would appear to have been by Acolyte Fei's own hand. When your body was discovered, Lady Kira's robes were on the ground. How did they end up there if they were on the statue? After I impaled myself on one of the statue's dagger-like feathers, I used the last ounce of my strength to hurl my body backwards. As I did, I grabbed onto the ropes, taking them with me as I fell back onto the ground. How terrible! What possessed you to do such a thing? You need not committed suicide simply to frame the accused. Prosecutor Sadmati, as one well-versed in our kingdom's lingo system, I would expect you of all people to understand. Understand what? This kingdom's legal system. This is Inmi's crime? Your suicide? It can't be. That would be sadder than sad. Why, I believe the defense knows of what the High Priest speaks. Yes, I finally understand. This explains why the High Priest took his own life.
Take that!
The Defense Culpability Act. Circumstantial evidence supports Mrs. Inmi's killing of Acolyte Zealot in self-defense. However, it would be next to impossible to prove it without a lawyer. That's why the High Priest wanted to pin the crime on Maya Fey. I fail to see what that has to do with his suicide. In Kurain, the divination seance is the most important piece of trial evidence. The High Priest wanted to frame Mrs. Fey as a serial killer. It was a clever plan in which he made sure he'd see Lady Kira in his final moments. The lawyer speaks true. That is why I placed Lady Kira's robes upon the Warbot statue, and made it seem that Acolyte Faye was the rebel-hunting Lady Kira. But, are you saying you used my divination seance to produce false evidence? Forgive me, your benevolence, but it was the only way to help my lovely wife. If you had approached me first, I could have proved that the murder was in self-defense. Perhaps, but I had little faith in lawyers despite being a rebel. How utterly foolish to cast away one's life for such a reason! There must have been other ways to cover up the crime! Yet, had I done so, my wife would rush to my defense, and when the case went to trial, she would suffer the same fate as I under the Defense Culpability Act. I could not have lived with myself had she had been convicted because of that fiendish man! This cannot be. All I have done under the laws of our kingdom. It has all been... Poor Rafa. She's really taken this hard, but I can't say I'm surprised. Mr. Phoenix Wright, it's time to show the might of your legal prowess. You mustn't allow another innocent soul to be charged under that despicable law. Of course, I'll do whatever I can. What I have done to you and Acolyte Faye is unforgivable. I can only offer my most humble of apologies. Your Majesty? Yes? I ask that you please look after my wife. You have my word. Your benevolence, it is time that I return to the Twilight Realm. The Magatama of Party, if you please. Very well. Your benevolence, please, allow me the honor. Yes, it would be more fitting for you to send him on his way. Mrs. Inme. Darling, I'm so glad I was able to see you one last time. Thank you for everything. I'm sorry to leave you like this, my love. And now you can watch over me from the world beyond. Yes, always and forever. With every breath I take, my darling, I'll be thinking of you. Farewell, my darling Tarust. The High Priest has returned to the Twilight Realm. Maya! I feel great. I guess that means he didn't leave any regrets behind. Oh, but what about the trial, Nick? It's over. It was a sad reality born of love and a great tragedy born of the Defense Culpability Act. Well, I see no need to continue this trial. Does the prosecution have anything to say? Mr. Phoenix Wright. I owe a debt to you, one that I will pay back in court someday. Now, to deliver today's verdict and overturn that of yesterday's trial, with respect to all current and previous charges against them, I hereby declare the accused, Maya Fey, and her defense, Phoenix Wright, not guilty! Oh, Jesus. May 12th, 4:20 p.m., High Court of Kurine, accused lobby. So, I was thinking, Nick, the legal system here is really stacked against the defense. It's totally unfair. Yeah, it even forced the High Priest to make the ultimate sacrifice just to protect his wife. It's just so sad. Protect the status quo or join the revolution. If the real Lady Kira were here, I wonder which side she would take. Your benevolence? Huh? What? Oh god, the yawns. I was just wondering, are you alright? Quiet, you! How could I possibly be alright? Yeah, she's not doing well at all. Who do you think you are, suddenly appearing before me, trampling my insights underfoot and plunging the Hall of Justice into utter chaos? You even desecrated my mother and father's teaching, you soulless infidel! That was a bit more extreme than usual. What am I to do? I had always believed that communing with a victim's minima would lead me to the absolute truth. But each time you overturned my insights, it was revealed that they served to support false charges rather than the truth. I am left now with that heavy truth in my heart. I'm sorry, Rafa. Perhaps I am not worthy of hearing the voices of the Mitama. That's where you're wrong, your benevolence. What? Maya? How dare you! Your role is to bring forth the voices of the Mitama into our world. If you don't do it, who will? You know nothing, Maya Fey. It was spirit channeling, not a divination seance that brought the truth to light. How dare an outsider like you employ the Queen's secret art? But what can I do? My spiritual power does not even approach yours. Is it not a cruel joke? The royal priestess, bested by a lowly outsider. Don't be so hard on yourself. Why not? It is worth at least a laugh or two. You shouldn't talk like that. Huh? Listen, your benevolence. You were just fulfilling your duty, weren't you? And you're the only one capable of performing the divination seance, right? The station of royal priestess is not something to abandon lightly. Station of royal priestess? The people of your kingdom believe in you. But if you really mean all that you just said, what are they supposed to believe in? Stop yawning! You know not of what you speak. Actually, I kinda do. After all, I'm only here training so I can become the master of my village back home. A village master, you say? I did not know. It seems I owe you an apology. Even today, I called you a neophyte practitioner. It's alright, your benevolence. Thank you for finally acknowledging me. A future queen and a future village master? I guess I shouldn't be surprised, seeing they may have had a common ancestor. I is right, your benevolence. But Barbed Head? Your insights were a crucial piece of evidence in this last trial. It doesn't matter if they weren't always 100% accurate. You should be proud of what you did. You played an important role in ensuring that justice was served. And besides, your insights aren't the problem here. It's your kingdom's legal system. Without lawyers, your insights have come to be accepted as the sole truth. And the Defense Culpability Act, which gave rise to that, is the root of it all. But that is the dangerous thinking of a rebel! Your benevolence. As Crown Princess, you are destined to rule this kingdom one day. That means there will be many things that you alone must determine. Things like how to keep your people happy, and what is true and what is false. And most importantly, what role you must play therein. I wonder if I'm even up to the task. Knowing you, your benevolence, you're more than capable. I've never heard Maya talk like this before. She's really come a long way. Explosion? What was that? It came from the hallway! Smoke! We better go check it out! Hurry! Mrs. Inmee! Mr. Wright, Acolyte Faye, I'm so sorry for what transpired. You're almost sentenced to death because of me. I will make amends by picking up where my husband left off. I will see the revolution through, so nothing like this can ever happen again, for that is the death of my love for my dearly departed husband. Lady Inmee, we gotta hurry! That voice, is that Mr. Arabelle? I must tell the people. They must learn that the peace we enjoy is a false one built on the backs of innocents charged with false crimes under that odious DC Act. We have it in our power to forge a society in which the law judges all of us fairly. Hey there, PW! I wish we had more time to talk, but... Dirk, everything's ready. It's go time. Dirk. Wait, was that the rebel leader, Dirk? After him! Don't let them get away! The power to forge a society in which the law judges all of us fairly. It's the start of a legal revolution. Hey, Nick! Hate to bother you while you're lost in thought, but I just got this great idea. What is it? The Steel Samurai versus the Rebel Dirk. I bet it'd make for another awesome TV show. If you threw the Plume Punisher in there, everyone will go nuts over it. I'll never get what she sees in those shows, but it's good to know that no matter what happens, Maya will always be Maya. And with that, that brings Chapter 3 to a close. So on Saturday, we shall be starting Episode 4. We shall be starting Episode 4, Turnabout Storyteller. So thank you all for watching, and as always, is your host, TheAmariaShadow, saying along Z. I'll see you for the next adventure. Goodbye, everyone!